Open your ears and lube up your butthole. It's time for the What Do We Call It podcast. Now, here's your host. It's Jmann. Welcome to the What Do We Call It podcast. I'm Jmann.
This is Steiny.
How you fellas doing?
I know it's weird that so many episodes have been about the beast lately, but when she gives me stuff, I usually put it out there right away. So, we're doing this. It's another beast episode, which that playlist has grown exponentially quite recently by a number of episodes. School conferences. The first round of them are always within the first 2 months of school.
Yeah, before the kids could really have done anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's conferences, obviously. You schedule them online, you show up.
Yep.
I went there to the school. I brought both the girls. Only one of them goes there now because the other one, the Juice, aged out to middle school.
Right on. Yeah.
But it's her elementary school. I want to see my teachers and say hi.
Ugh.
Yeah, well, whatever. Fuck it. She's a nerd. It makes her happy. I'll gladly let her tag along. Nerd! Because the other alternative was leave her home to play on her phone.
Well, she gets enough of that anyway, right?
Yes. Yeah. So I won't bore you with any of the stupid details of conferences. Other than that, once we got done talking to the first teacher, I said, girls, can you do me a favor? What? Leave the room. They're like, what? I'm like, just leave the room. Am I in trouble? I'm like, no, get out, dude. Damn.
Right. They just don't understand wanting to have a moment.
And then they get out in the hallway, and I think they're gone. And I go to start talking, and then she pokes her head back in. Are you going to say bad things about Mom? I'm like, no, get out.
You're killing me, Smalls.
And then I turn back to the teacher. I'm like, I'm kind of going to say something about their mom. 2 years ago, when everything that's been going on with them, my custody battle with their mom started, you know, the older one had you. And I'm just letting you know, it's settled now. And I got full custody, legal and physical. So I call all the shots. Mom can come to school. Mom can come to conferences. You can gladly communicate with her via email.
Sure.
And all that. And she could pick them up. I just want you to know that I'm the decision maker. So, like, if it's I'm sick and I want to go home, it's got to go by me first. We're not just playing this Mom will let her go home and eat ice cream all the time BS.
Right. Or anytime she doesn't want to deal with something at school or the kids don't. Yeah.
So she's got 2 teachers. That was the first one. Then we saw the other one because they're separate for homeroom and reading and another one for math.
Okay. Yeah. They do it all at different districts. Yeah.
Yeah. So we go see the math teacher. Same deal. She's doing great. Girls, leave the room again. Really? Why do you keep doing this? I'm like, because I want to ask some questions about some of the poor behavior that you tell me goes on in the school, all right? And I don't want you to hear what I'm saying because then you might go tell it to the bad kids and get in trouble. Which I legitimately did discuss with them, but that wasn't the main point of bringing it up.
Right. Exactly.
I wanted, same deal. I'm like, hey, Mr. So-and-so, you remember when you had the juice? Yeah. Remember all the stuff started going bad? Kinda. Well, I've got full custody now. He's like, okay, well, I hope you don't mind me saying this, but, and I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ. When somebody prefaces a comment with that,
yeah,
usually you're like, fuck.
Here we're going to have to be, all right, let's see how not offended I can be.
He's like, congratulations. I'm really happy for you, and I'm glad it went that way. I'm like, oh, that's so good. He's like, now hopefully you guys can all heal. I'm like, oh, he went the fucking Governor Walz route with the it's time to heal bullshit.
Yeah, but Scott Jensen's saying that too. He's going to heal Minnesota, so how can both of them heal Minnesota?
Well, one of them wants to heal it with the social justice hug-a-thug bullshit. The other wants to heal Minnesota by making sure that little girls can't go and get their rape babies taken out of their vaginas with a vacuum.
Okay. Interesting tactics on how to heal, but okay.
Yeah.
We'll see which one's more effective.
Right. So anyways, we leave the math room. They see a couple more teachers. And then she's like, well, let's go see my specials teacher. I'm like, fuck. Come on, I don't care. But okay, because you kind of can't just be like, oh, fuck this. We go. She's doing great, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, well, hey, get out. I give the spiel a third time.
Right on.
I'm like, now you probably had no idea about any of this because the Juice was in the accelerated class of specials too. Like,
okay.
So just so you know, again, communicate with Mom. She's fine to come in. She doesn't like to be in the same room as me for these things, so she's going to do her own, but it's all good. Now, that was on a Monday. The girls go to stay with her Tuesday night into Wednesday.
The very next day.
Yes.
Okay.
Wednesday, I come out of work for my lunch break to a text message where she is tearing me a new asshole.
Right on.
It's a paragraph, and her phone bleeps the swear words. So it's always F and then stars.
Asterisks.
Yeah. It's so fucking ridiculous.
She could go back and edit those, but she doesn't want to.
No, she doesn't use punctuation either. It's fucking maddening.
Oh. Some phones will actually put that in for you now, too.
Yeah. Well, it starts with this. What part of Chi-Chi's education is you making her leave the room at conferences so you can talk shit about me to their teachers? I can't believe you would do that. What's the point of that? Are you that high and mighty that you have to fucking run me down all the time? You're a real fucking piece of shit, and I don't appreciate that.
This sounds like something I would get from my son's mom.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So I try to call her. She doesn't pick up.
Talking would be the easiest way to convey what was going on, right? You know, there's going to be the least amount of problems, but via text now.
She's always like,
misconstrued.
why aren't you texting me? I'm like, because this is faster. We've gone over this. I can use my thumbs for 5 minutes or my voice for 30 seconds.
Yep.
Fuck off and listen. I text her. I'm like, that's not what happened at all. And then I call and leave her another voicemail. Here's what really happened. And I gave her the short and skinny. I'm like, but I don't appreciate you doing this shit. So seeing as you're back in bitch mode because you've been off your meds and you're still reacclimating, you do it again, I'll fucking call the cops, and then we'll have another report with your name on it. Is that what you want? Because all this could be avoided. And then she texts me as soon as I get done leaving it. I'm not going to listen to your stupid fucking voicemail, so you can just text me whatever you have to say and stop being such an asshole. Like, fuck you, you cunt.
I swear my son's mom and her are one of the same in some regards, because I've had that exact message sent to me. I'm not going to listen to your voicemail. You can text me. I'm like, no.
Well, mine is, a chemically addicted half Arab. Yours is a non-chemically addicted but semi-alcoholic Latina.
Yep.
She's half Latina. So they're each half white,
technically
half
quarter
something. Oh,
Latina.
is that it?
Yeah.
It's a dominant quarter.
Yeah. Well, she used to play it that way too. She, like a lot of people, when their ethnicity serves them, she'll use it. So when it could be her being the crazy Latina, that was self-serving. She could, just chalk it up to that.
Yeah, but her name isn't Latina enough to get fucking like college tuition
German.
or anything.
Yeah. No, her grandma was full. I guess you could say Mexican, I guess, in this regards. And then, so her mom would have been half, she would have been quarter. And so my son is 1/8, technically.
Not enough to get college tuition.
I don't think so, no.
Especially with your last name, and it's hyphenated 2 German names.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, poor kid.
Fucking Christ.
He's going to hate college applications if he ever goes.
Yeah, so back to
The beast.
Yeah. I called the cops. I explained the story. I'm like, she doesn't need to leave me this shit.
Okay.
I feel harassed. I really do. And she doesn't seem to get it through her skull until I have you guys call her. So can you do that? He's like, yeah, okay, but if you're saying that you're going to get a restraining order, when are you going to get it? You got to report. What more do you need? I'm like, no, dude, you need a series of reports to show patternistic behavior.
Okay.
You know all about this. It's how you establish that something has happened repeatedly so that you can charge someone with a crime for doing it. So, yeah, that's why I keep doing it and holding out.
Yeah, we're in point C of G.
And he's like, okay, well, I'll give her a call. And he hangs up. He didn't ask me for her number.
God damn it.
I'm like, I wonder if this motherfucker is even going to call her. What a dickhole.
Right.
So then my next call is to my daughter's school. I don't want to wait until after school to talk to her because she's going to be with
The beast.
I want to hear it from her when she doesn't have that influence on the other end of the line with her, because it always seems like they're on speakerphone for no good fucking reason.
Right.
I call the school. I explain the situation. I'm like, here's the deal. My daughter is in this class. She's in this grade. I need to talk to her. Oh, well, I can leave her a message. I'm like, no. I need to talk to her. Her mom's leaving me harassing text messages, to which I had to call the cops. And the reason that's important for you to know is because I have full custody, and if her mom has relapsed onto hard drugs again, she acts like this. So I need to figure out if that's something I need to call and get the courts involved in right now. I need you to let me talk to my daughter. Oh, well, do you want to talk to the school social worker? I'm like, no, I want to talk to my daughter. Can't you just call the classroom and have the teacher, send her to the office?
Right.
So I can talk to her? Okay, well, hang on.
A few moments later.
We're going to have the social worker call you. So then she fucking calls me. And I have to explain this all again.
Of course.
And it's not the social worker I know. which I later
Oh.
came to find out that chick left for a better job.
Imagine that.
And she's like, well, I'll talk to your daughter and then I'll have her call you if that's okay. And I'll be in the room with her if that's okay. I'm like, God damn it. Does she think that I'm fucking like the abusive parent? Because I thought I made it pretty abundantly clear that I'm not angry, but I'm just trying to assess a situation based upon the fact that I think that my daughter made a comment to her mom who doesn't ask any questions, just flies off the handle half-cocked. Can I just talk to my kid? I don't understand this. When it was the previous administration, if I had to talk to my kid, I'd call the school, and the principal guy would have his secretary go get them, bring them to the office, and I'd talk to them. It's only happened 2 other times. Why is it all different now that he's not the principal and the secretary retired? Call me back. And then she does, and my daughter's in the room, and I'm having this conversation with her, and she's upset because she doesn't want to talk bad about her mom.
Of course.
I'm like, no, you don't understand. What did you say to mom? Did you tell her that I made you leave the room at conferences and that I was talking bad about her? Well, you made us leave, and I thought you might be saying something bad about mom. I'm like, God damn it. Right. Really? Are you fucking serious? Because now she thinks that I did that, and she's cussing at me, and I had to call the cops because she's harassing me about it.
Right. This is a huge situation.
I'm like, I'm not trying to make you upset, and I'm not mad at you, but the situation sucks because I have to wonder if your mom's back on drugs because of the level of vitriol, which means angry words, that she's texting me.
Right.
So what you got to do is, and I'm sorry this is our life, but you have to be careful what you tell your mom because she will misconstrue things as in confuse the meaning, and then she'll fly off the handle and blow my phone up, and then we got to do all this. That's ridiculous. And then she's crying, and she doesn't want to talk, and the social worker's like, well, did you get it figured out? I'm like, I guess.
Right.
And then I get off the phone, and I'm pissed off, and then I got to go back into work, and I tell my boss, and I'm like, here's the situation. I hate to drop this on you out of nowhere, but I might have to go. I don't know yet. I'm waiting on a text message. Depending upon what that says, I may be requesting for my ex to go to the UA lab and take a piss test for meth. He's like, oh, God, not again. I'm like, yeah, fingers crossed, bud. Knock on wood, it's not the case. I get to the end of the day. She texts me a few more times, so apparently the cop didn't fucking call her.
Nope.
Or she just doesn't care. Learning on the first try of touching the hot stove's never been her fucking strong point.
Right.
And, I'm just fit to be tied over this whole fucking thing. And I'm making comments via text about, maybe I want you to go take a piss test. She's like, that's fine. Read the agreement. Because if I do it, you'll have to pay me back. So, as soon as I do it, you'll owe me like $84. And then it says, I don't have the money. I might have to borrow money from my mom. And I might have to go pawn my ring to get the money for the test. And I'm like, this is starting to sound like the usual, you fucked up trying to talk me out of it.
Absolutely.
And I'm like, I can either go pedal to the floor even harder than I already have, which I shouldn't have. I will admit that already. I went way too hard out of the gate.
Yeah.
So I get out of work. I call her. She's like, what? I'm like, if you've never believed me before, believe me right now. It is in your best interest to shut the fuck up and let me explain this. And I'm sorry that sounds dickish because we're apologizing for our old ways.
Right.
Because we're getting along, air quotes. Here's what happened. I made them leave the room so I could tell them about the behavior issues that have been going on and my concerns. Also, I mentioned to them about the custody situation. Why? They don't need to know. I'm like, stop. You said you were going to fucking listen. I'm letting them know it's all over. You're doing better now and that you have full rights to pick them up, call the school, get information, go to conferences, blah, 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 everything.
Right.
She's like, well, I already canceled my conference because I was too embarrassed that you talked a bunch of shit about me. I'm like, oh, so you took a step you didn't need to.
Right.
Because you didn't fucking have a conversation. You made an accusation.
Well, and you also took your 8-year-old child's word at the time, 9-year-old child. Yeah, so, yeah.
It's fucking ridiculous. So then we start talking about the UA. She's like, well, I'm going to have to go pawn my ring because my mom doesn't have money and she's working till 9. Do you swear on our children's lives? And I know you don't like to do this, but will you swear on their fucking lives that you're not using? She's like, I didn't relapse. I was just really pissed off, and I felt like you were attacking me for no reason. So that's why I went off like that. I'm like, okay. Well, and I didn't mention the cops, and I didn't mention the fucking idea of a restraining order. Because I don't know. Sometimes I feel like I should do it, sometimes I don't.
Right.
But she's more than often threatened me when she's upset at me chewing her a new asshole for her cuntery. Say, I'm going to get an HRO on your ass. And I'm like, fine, bitch, we'll go to court and I'll tell the judge and I'll bring the stack of 110 pages of police reports
Right.
from the last 12 years that I fucking crucified you with at our custody trial and say, here's the body of evidence. If you want, I also have 60 plus pages of text messages that she thought would help her in court, but actually made her look worse. If you want to see the pattern of behavior, that she's the problem, not me. But it hasn't come to that yet.
Yeah. You're just waiting for the day.
I guess. I hope it doesn't come to that. Genuinely, I don't. But you never know.
Well, just like anything, you basically have this leverage of the restraining order. You have these ways to try to make the other party behave. In the long run, though, it's not the way you want to go. It's like the nuclear tactic, right? The last thing you want to do, because nobody wins in that regard.
Because she could go and say, well, he does this, this, and that, and then maybe she throws one back at me and it fucking sticks for both of us, and I'm like, oh, Jesus.
There you go. All of a sudden, yeah.
Nobody wants that shit.
Yeah.
Frankly, it just makes me think about, like medieval times when you wanted to get rid of your wife, you fucking chopped her head off or threw her down a well, or, like Oregon Trail, she died of cholera, and then halfway on your way to Oregon, you met a whole other family with some chick whose husband died. And even though you don't have anything in common, you're fucking in the back of a covered wagon 36 hours later and you're a blended family. Times were tough. It was so much easier. Just get rid of the bitch. Not that I'm advocating for murdering your ex, obviously.
Oh, I thought you were talking about playing Oregon Trail. Yeah, I never gave clothes to anybody. I figured why.
You don't need to be clothed unless it's snowing. And then
No. You're going to meet on the trail. Who
go
cares?
and shoot a fucking deer or a bear and then wear that fucking pelt.
As far as I know, there weren't any repercussions for not having any clothes, other than when you got in the mountains and it was cold. But by then, half your team had died anyway, so, who cares?
Yeah. So you've got the warm body of that new second wife that you met on the trail to keep you all toasty at night as she's wrapping her legs around you and experiencing this exciting new dick.
Well, and because that family actually bought clothing when they started out, so yeah. Just earn it that way.
She's probably got a few shirts that are left over from her dead husband.
Exactly.
And they don't fit you right, but her vagina does, so who cares?
Yeah, that's what needs to fit, right?
So long story short, I'm going to just nail this point here, that going forward, the Beast and I have an understanding. Before there's an accusation, we have a conversation. And we avoid the fights and the patterns of the past, and we co-parent better. So I said, fine, I will believe you. You don't have to take a UA. But if I find out that you've duped me this time and sworn on our children's lives, I will make what they did to Jesus of Nazareth in the Passion of the Christ look like a fucking handshake. And I don't mean with physical violence. I mean in the courts.
I hope it works out for you, man. I hope that the pattern of behavior is broken and that things progress, man. There will be relapses, but for overall, I hope it works out, man.
Yeah, right.
Because that sucks.
Interact with the show on Twitter at What Do We Call It? That is at What Do We Call It? You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/group/What Do We Call It podcast show. For the What Do We Call It podcast, I'm Jmann.
This is Steiny.
And that's the end.